Hey, Lisa Neller here. Today I want to talk about the difference between coaching and counseling. Someone asked me recently, what is the difference between life coaching and going to a therapist or a counselor? And I said, that is such a great question. And I went on to explain the differences, and I'm going to share that with you now. So, counselors, otherwise known as therapists, help people process past hurts, traumas, life difficulties, things that really can mess up your psychology. And it's very difficult to function. When you go see a therapist, typically you're struggling with functioning on a day-to-day basis and finding any kind of happiness or joy. And so you need to go talk to somebody, and you need to process through emotions and thoughts and experiences so that you can heal. It's really a very healing modality. And then therapists have a lot of different methods for helping people process their trauma. There's a lot of different, what they might call theories or methodologies that they utilize depending on the client and what their particular needs are. Conversely, coaching is more forward-looking. So people who come for coaching are typically already mentally healthy. They don't struggle to function necessarily. They don't necessarily have a lot of heavy trauma in their background, but maybe some little traumas. You know, we all have a little T traumas, which Gabor Mate says in his beautiful book, The Myth of Normal. But people who are looking for a coach are really wanting some hand-holding, some guidance to moving towards a better life. People want to feel better. They want to lose weight. They want to get better with their money, their relationships, their careers. And it's often difficult to do that on your own. Personally, I have a business coach because I do need hand-holding in particular areas of my business. But other people might have trouble just in getting along with other people, or struggling at work, or wanting a particular thing in life but aren't sure how to get it. And what a coach does is really, a coach is more like a thinking partner, and someone that can help a client find their own insight. It's information that they already know on a deep, deep level, but it's subconscious. They can't even bring it up. And a coach can help draw that out of a client, and also help with accountability and goal setting and action planning and all that kind of thing, so that the client gets what the client wants. So we're basically holding their hand and helping them get what they want. And it's usually something they can't get on their own. That's why they hire a coach. So those are two of the differences. Now, counselors, therapists, they are required to have a master's degree. So they got to go to undergraduate school, get their bachelor's degree. They got to go to another school, or maybe the same school, and get a master's degree, which is another 2 to 3 years of education. They have to take an exam. I believe it's a state and a federal exam. They have to pass that, and then they become what's called an associate licensed counselor. After that, they have to go through roughly 3,000 more hours of supervised counseling. So they're working under a licensed counselor and they're being supervised. And they do that for 3,000 hours. It takes 2 to 3 years sometimes to get that independent license. So a counselor has to have a lot of education in order to become a therapist. And there are ethical guidelines and laws that they cannot break. And if they do, they could really be in trouble. Whereas a life coach doesn't really need to have any formal education to call themselves a life coach. I think that's a little unfortunate, only because I think a good life coach definitely invests in education, but they don't have to have it. You don't have to have a certification or anything to be a life coach. So consequently, there are probably some life coaches out there who are doing their clients a disservice by not having some education or the proper background to really be an effective coach. And that's not to say that you have to have an education. It's just that that could be very helpful in getting results for your clients. Both practices, counseling and coaching, are backed by research. They're science-based practices, and there are results that you get if you do certain things, whether you're counseling or whether you're coaching. So there is research that backs up the theories behind coaching and counseling. I think that some people who have had counseling in the past may want to consider coaching. Sometimes coaching works better. And sometimes there are coaching clients that actually could be better served with some counseling. So, I think both the counselor and the coach can tell pretty much what's really going to be needed. In relationships and in like marriage counseling and things like that, I think a lot of that, aside from deep trauma, because a lot of couples go into therapy and they both have lots of past trauma and stuff like that, which makes it difficult to regulate and to communicate and all of that. So I would say that if you're in a relationship that's not working really well and it's more of a personality differences or differences in thinking, maybe you've grown apart or something like that, but you don't carry a lot of trauma and dysfunction in your growing up years, you may have a better chance with a coach. So it's, just kind of depends on where you're at and what you're looking for. I hope that clarifies it for you, right? So that the counseling is more healing from the past and coaching is more moving towards the future of what you want. If you have any questions about that, reach out to me, lisanellercoaching.com/contact if you have a question and you want to reach out to me personally, or if you're on social media and you want to post a question or something, feel free to do that. Thank you so much for watching.